Marfoogle TV going live in 3, 2, 1. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam and K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We got a lot to go over in a short amount of time, so let's get into it. First of all, Denmark will shoot first and ask questions later over Greenland. Well, everybody is talking about, and we're going to get into the whole Minneapolis thing. No joke, every hour it has gotten worse. They apparently are closing schools. We're going to get into all of that as well. But first, I got to talk about this because this is something that I almost doubt that anyone is going to be at the water cooler talking about the Greenland situation. And now Denmark is saying, again, we'll shoot first and ask questions later. This is kind of wild, right? It says Danish soldiers will be required. So this isn't just like a TV personality saying like, oh, we should do this. Will be required to shoot first and ask questions later if the United States invades Greenland under the Army's rules of engagement. It says on Wednesday, the Danish Defense Ministry confirmed the existence of a 1952 rule requiring soldiers to immediately counterattack invading forces without awaiting orders. I mean, like, obviously a lot of people are looking at this and going like, what do you mean? The U.S. isn't going to invade anybody. Well, a lot of this is kind of like up in the air right now, and a lot of people are really worried right now because obviously we just took out the Venezuelan president. Now, I'm not like worried for the safety of Greenlanders, but I do think somehow we're gonna get Greenland if it happens to. It would probably be during this term, because after this president goes out, who knows if the next president is actually going to, want the Greenland for national security or whatever they actually want it for, minerals for batteries. But so this might actually happen. Like we might actually see them be at odds. Of course, the entire NATO alliance has been, crumbling. And a lot of this, I believe, outside sources are essentially trying to break up that NATO alliance to really hit it home, that we are weaker and that we're getting weaker, right? Well, just recently, the president took out Venezuela, which if you think this is all about drugs, then I think you're a little bit crazy. I think that is us fighting back. We are screwing up their alliances now. We are breaking up their bonds. Just asked Venezuela, said, hey, you guys have to promise. You have to literally sign something saying you will not do any oil deals with Russia, Cuba, Iran, and China. Because they know that money is being used for, obviously, the black market stuff and attacks against the U.S. Again, this is my opinion. We're going to get into more of what is going on right now. Minneapolis is, I'm not going to say it's on fire. It very well, I bet it is by now. But we're going to talk about what is going on there, how big it is getting, why it is happening in just a moment. We'll be back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. So somebody says that this is a dumb title. This could equal civil war. Well, I don't know how you actually disagree with this, because the actual governor is coming into Tim Walz is literally saying that he is going to bring in the National Guard, the state, with weapons to take out ICE, the federal police, with weapons. I mean, how could you describe? I mean, if that actually happens, what would you call that? I mean, like, if something bad happens, if one of them popped a shot at each other, if something went wrong, this literally could equal civil war. So I don't think that that's a BS title. And again, I take pride that we don't do, clickbaity titles. If once you hear about everything that's going on there, you'll probably understand. If you know everything that's going on there, I don't see how you can't see it. I'm somebody who lives in Seattle. I walked through the Summer of Love. I walked through the, multiple city blocks that they took over. And obviously, it was insanity. They only took it over because our government let them do it. I could only imagine if we had a different kind of government that came in there with, pepper spray and just pulled everybody out. It could have been a whole lot different. But that, of course, was meant to happen. Everything was planned. We don't exactly know what is going on right now. It was very predictable what was going on in the last 4 years during CV. That was predictable. We don't know exactly what's going to happen under this presidency. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine. But yeah, man, this is it's a touchy subject. Like somebody just said, doesn't the government control the National Guard? No, it's actually states. They're deployed to the states. The states call them in. They usually use them in times of emergency, whether it be for riots or floods or natural disasters, things like that, right? So yeah, Tim can call them in. I don't know, but that would be really hairy. We'll get to that though. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll be covering that. I mean, what would you call that if something went south? That would literally equal a civil war. You've got
I mean, wasn't that last time? It was states fighting against the government. So yeah.
I mean, if you want accurate titles, you got one. This could. I should have added literally. This could literally equal civil war. All right, let's get into it, and we're gonna head from Denmark over to to Greenland and talk about I thought it was
Denmark.
We're gonna go from Denmark to Denmark. Let's travel. Okay, so Rubio says he will meet with Denmark about Greenland next week.
Yeah, now he's the one that has been talking about not invading. He was more he kept reiterating that we wanted to buy them when Trump had made the statement of, we might have to use force or troops. But look, he is the one going in. And mind you, Rubio's the guy who was in charge of Venezuela. I mean, that was his show too, so to speak, right? So Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Wednesday that he will meet with officials from Denmark next week about Greenland. So he's, trying to determine what I guess the next step is, or maybe give them some negotiations and or some offers, I should say, towards negotiating a solution. But, ultimately this comes down to one thing. And I think you've said this numerous times, Adam, the reason we want Greenland, I think there's two reasons. One is that China has been eyeballing it. China has no access to the Arctic outside of Russia. So if they can pony up and side with Greenland to get to, partner with Belt and Road or something along those lines, and then gain access to that, it would give them their Arctic location, right? We need it very much so to keep China and Russia further away. And we need it because we have bases there. We actually have the right to put more bases there if we so choose. We just don't have the right to necessarily put nukes there. And arm them. We actually had an incident back in the day where we had a nukes on a B-52, I think it was, or it was one of the planes that had crashed there, and they actually had a nuke go down. And ever since then, they told us no more nukes on their country because it was part of Denmark's no nuclear treaty that they have, and it extends to Greenland. So you can't put nukes there.
And there's a treaty agreement from 2015 through 2018. I can't remember the exact year. That also explains that they can't put interception there. So if they're building this Golden Dome, they need to build interceptor launchers a lot more places. And of course, the Golden Dome system is supposedly going to have, space-based interceptors as well. So is this purely about national security? What's funny is in the case of Venezuela, they're totally making it like, oh, this is, this is a deal. We're trying to, stop the drugs from coming in. But really, it's about national security. In this case, it's kind of reversed. They're telling us it's national security. Do we believe it? Is it really about minerals for batteries? Did they know that there's lithium there that they can make a bunch of batteries and catch up to China in the battery arena? I think it's national security. Every one of the actions, if you take the actions that the president has done, whether you love him or hate him, he's doing things that it's like there's always another explanation for it. But if you put all of it together, it's very, very simple. All of our adversaries have teamed up. They're working on BRICS. They are lining themselves up. China specifically is lining themselves up with the entire world. And they are saying, hey, in 10 years, we're going to be number one. So you better start, kissing our shoes now. And there are countries that believe it. And there are countries that are receiving from it. There are countries that are doing the Belt and Roads, that are taking billions of dollars, that are doing partnerships, space programs, all sorts of stuff with China. And now it is an actual threat, whereas in the past it was not. China now is quickly, fastening their pace on almost everything you can imagine in the war arena. So, whether you worry about Taiwan being taken or not, it is a short or a long-term thing. Like either way, within 10 to 15 years, if they take Taiwan, we're in a lot of trouble here. Especially, if we live in a world where China's number one, they'll be able to go in and do all sorts of stuff that they weren't or they wouldn't do before when they become number one. Look at U.S. and the thing is you can't go on paper and see all of the meddling that the U.S. does because most of it is redacted and classified. But you and I know, all of us here that are watchers, we know that the U.S. almost on a yearly, weekly, daily basis has essentially, regime changed multiple countries, has the power to go in and switch their entire country's culture. And it does on a regular basis. Our clandestine services have probably taken out tons and tons of people that have changed history for the world. Now imagine China being in that number one spot and having the kind of power that we have right now as number one. The thing is, nobody can touch us. Nobody wants to start a war with the U.S. You don't want to wake the sleeping giant. Well, unfortunately, there is another sleeping giant, and it's right behind us. Michael Pittman Jr. says, don't be stupid. We're all here because we know deeper truths. Taking off the country is a bad image, but for world stability, it's a must. Taking off the country or taking off the taking of the country. Yeah. So Greenland, it is a bad image, but for world stability, it's a must. So you guys probably know my belief is that I think that we will have Greenland before 2028. And I think that they're going to try to buy it. They're going to try to do everything they can because I see the posturing. And I believe that they've talked about it enough that it is extremely important to the people in charge. They want that Greenland. And I think it has a lot to do with the Golden Dome thing. But again, I might be wrong. That might be a belief that is totally falls into the mainstream media kind of divot, right? Because we're all guilty of falling into that every once in a while. Or believing things because, it sounds logical. But this one, I think it does. And it is reversed from Venezuela. They're telling us it's about national security, but is it? All right. And then let's go into the next story, which is, of course, Russia floats horror World War III nuclear threat as the U.S. seizes tankers. Dex, do you want to talk about that? And we've got some crazy stuff going on over there.
Yeah, so as we reported over on news, we did take a tanker, the Bella One, also been renamed Marinera. I'm not sure.
Did you just say Marinera?
I want to say Marinera. It's Italian, and what I would think. But anyway, they've renamed it. They painted the Russian flag on it. They tried to claim it as a Russian tanker, and it probably has a lot to do with Russia because that tanker is one of the dark tankers that floats around between Iran, Russia, and China, moving unsanctioned oil or sorry, sanctioned oil for money. But we took it. We took it off the coast of Ireland. We went in and did that. And now a high-profile member of the Russian Duma, which is like considered part of their government, it's a different section of it, issued a chilling threat to the states following the seizure of 2 oil tankers believed to be part of the so-called ghost fleet, as they call it. Alexei Servalov, the first deputy head of the Defense Committee, went so far as to suggest nuclear weapons could be deployed in response as per the military doctrine of the country. So I think they revised that nuclear use, and he's suggesting that it fits into that. He likened the seizure of the Bella 1 to an attack on Russian territory as it was flying under the Russian flag. He said, "We need to provide a military response. We need to attack with torpedoes or sink a couple of American boats. This is nothing more than piracy, the seizure of a civilian vessel by an armed U.S. Navy." Then they go on to, question, people are questioning now, like, what's England's, or I should say the UK's position on this, because obviously we would have launched this from a base there. And the Ministry of Defense there said, hey, they don't comment. They're not going to comment on anything specific that may happen with third parties using their bases for, actions and things that are going on. Obviously, the UK is always in the crosshairs of Russia. So this definitely would point a finger to them as much as it's pointing it to the U.S., as blatant as that is.
Yeah, and this ship and the changing of the name, I don't really understand that as well. They painted on the flag. Somebody said, could it have been a decoy that could be why it was empty? Follow the ship while we move other ships. I don't know how that would fit into it. But one thing I didn't understand is, if there's all these tankers, why, how do they make their pick? How do they choose which one they're going to go after and stay on it? I mean, they were chasing this thing for over a week. We've got Navy ships. We've got helicopters that could, cut it off. It wasn't about that they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
why did they
like
wait?
A month ago, we reported there was something like 11 of these ghost ships that were just all kind of hanging out, like in the Gulf, throughout the Caribbean, and different locations.
What's on
they're
them?
like watching them all, and they're all just sort of sitting. They're like on pause, like they don't know if they should move, because if they move, they're going to get caught, right? At least that's my thought.
Side theory.
What
if they have a nuke or a tactical nuke on one of these things or something? Like, I understand we're also seizing oil and stuff, but here's the thing: we just seized Venezuela's oil. Like, we've got the whole country's oil. Do we still need the one ship? Right? It was all coming out of Venezuela. So I guess, and then this had a Russian flag. This is what people are pointing out. We just seized one of Russia's ships. Are we doing this because of Venezuela? Or if you look at countries like Iran, do you know what Iran's carrier is? It is a ship just like this. It is a tanker that they've converted into a carrier. In fact, multiple of there's I believe multiple poorer countries that have turned either tankers or the container ships into their military vehicles. So I just wonder, like, what? That's what I'm saying. Why do they? This is why it's good to ask questions. Why do they pick the ships that they pick? Out of the whole Ghost Fleet, why specifically did they follow this one for like a week and a half, 2 weeks? Why didn't they just grab? They could have grabbed 4 in the time they did that. If you look at the tracking, and I believe at one point they went past another one to follow this one. Why didn't they grab that one? All of them technically are under their guise of seizing the oil, and I understand that not all of them are the sanctioned ships, but they've even passed one of the sanctioned ships to get this sanctioned ship. Why? So I haven't heard anybody asking if there's nukes on these. Have you guys? I don't know. I wonder if that's why. Like, if they have weapons or a WMD on one of these things. Or maybe the U.S. thinks that. I don't know. It is odd. All right, and then Russia again, is going to respond in some way, whether it be, direct or clandestine services. I believe we're going to see something soon. All right, and then Before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. This is one of the top, as far as products that we believe will save a life or allow people to get home to their families. This is a device that will not only protect your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators, and your solar systems. Of course, you've got satellite systems, you've got modems, you even have ham radios. Again, you can get a system to protect it from EMP Shield. It's not only going to protect you against an EMP blast from an adversary, but it is also going to protect you against a CME or a natural event from the sun. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. You'll get $50 off plus 25% off at the year-end sale. Remember that end of the year sale is extended all the way from Black Friday. They have last year they ended it on the 3rd, so they're going way longer than they usually do. So we're happy that they're extended, but we don't know. Tomorrow it could be gone. So make sure to utilize it, marfooglenews.com/EMP, and make sure to use the code MARF. All right, and then Kate Brown, quadruple 7, thank you for supporting Independent. I cannot say thank you enough. And another thank you to all of the people. Yesterday's show got shared a lot, so thank you guys. I appreciate it. I see it. Thank you, and thank you. All right, Dex, let's talk about this next piece here, which, again, it just fits into the whole pie here, Minnesota.
Yeah, so in Minneapolis, as we have talked about, obviously with the recent publicity they got with the fraud cases going on with the immigration group that was there doing that, we've had over the last few days an uptick, a large mission from the CPD or really ICE to go in and remove and go after anybody there. So you've seen this massive increase of ICE. Well, what went down today, apparently a 37-year-old woman was taken out by an ICE agent during an enforcement operation in Minneapolis. The federal officials say the agent fired in self-defense. She was in a vehicle. They were trying to get her to stop. I don't know if she was moving the vehicle erratically. From the video I saw, it was only once they approached the window. But one of the officers was in the front of the vehicle, to which she was turning in towards him, and then gunned it. And as she gunned the gas, he, used the other one to take her out. And yeah, that was not a pretty sight. But now this has ramped into a very large contested issue, from having local officials say the story is disputed and it's not true, that the ICE agent was a murderer, not doing anything in self-defense, which you can just imagine is stoking the fire even more, because nothing has actually been presented in a court case, or not that matters when it comes to politics, nor does it matter when it comes to rioting or massive protests. So that has escalated. It has escalated so far such that the governor, Tim Walz, has issued a warning order. He is preparing the state's National Guard for possible deployment. He said, I've issued a warning, the order, prepare Minnesota's National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepare to be deployed if necessary. He went on to also make statements that preparation was to get ICE out, that they don't need to be there. He said, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesota's safety, telling them to go home. We're speaking specifically to Donald Trump, Homeland Security, etc. While it's called the situation chaotic, and I think what this means at this point is this is the flashpoint. We have seen a flashpoint here a couple years ago that started the Summer of Love, as they called it. I think that was in your town, Adam, the Summer of Love. But that also started in Minneapolis, about 2 miles away from this location.
Right down the street.
Yeah, right down the street. So, yeah.
Also in this town,
how could it be?
The Somali daycare, that whole situation, that was in that town. And Dex, you and I were talking about this. We're obviously looking at all these different events that have happened there, and it just really makes you wonder. Some would hear me say that and go, oh yeah, because really think about it. And who was chosen as the running VP? Like, why? Like, if you were really trying to go for the popular vote, why that specific person, right? Maybe that person was smart and had something going there where they could access, giant amounts of moolah. as far as I think they broke records, in fact, with that campaign.
I mean, where did he come from? Out of nowhere, he becomes the VP candidate, and out of nowhere, they raised the most money ever in a short period of time.
And that same state, now there's questions if this multiple million kind of dollar operation where these daycares everywhere are just getting this loop of government money, that there may be some sort of kickback, right? Man, yeah, that's weird, right? And then when you just look at everything and how it is looked at, how it's responded, how the social platforms escalated things. If you go on Twitter right now, it is everything about Minneapolis. Everything. You type in any search word, you're going to get back to Minneapolis. It's the thing. This is a huge deal, but the way that the social media algorithms are serving it to people, it's much like when Kirk perished. That was all you could see. You couldn't go on it without seeing it. And when things like this happen, where people are absolutely divided down the middle on what they believe was right about this situation, people make snap judgments before they see everything or hear everything. In this case, I don't know if it will change if we get body cam footage, but I said years ago too, like, we need to wait until we see body cam footage, and we almost never do. There's been tons of shooting, like the drunk guy that was in the restaurant drive-through, and he got taken out, and people said it was just absolutely innocent guy. In reality, the dude was all sorts of messed up. And I believe in that situation, he was like asleep and then woke up. And in a lot of these cases, what you end up seeing is if you don't jump the gun, you see 4 days later, they release the body cam footage, and there's some reason why that police officer, had to pull a weapon or had to stop it. Dex, you and I were talking, whether you agree or disagree, this is the whole thing. If I say my opinion on it, then it just starts, this is the kind of thing that just starts arguments, and then just people argue about it. As far as I thought, man, that guy's in front of the car. He could have just jumped out from under the car. I mean, you're taking somebody's life. It's a big deal. But at the same time, she's been warned 4 or 5 times, and they even told her, you're going to get fired upon if you try to drive over one of our agents, or if you try to keep driving, you're going to get fired on.
Yeah. I mean, at what point is it okay to disobey orders from law enforcement when, they're at your car, and when you're in operation of the car to be moving it? Like, even when an officer has pulled you over and he's standing at your window, you moving the car fast or in a dangerous method is not appropriate. I mean, it's not, and there's probably laws against it because it's dangerous.
Well, if you get pulled over, pulled over and the cop gets out of the car and you speed off, you're going to get a chase.
Exactly.
You're committing a crime.
So, to think that you've got, any number of law enforcement officials standing at your door telling you to stop moving the vehicle, and you continue moving the vehicle in one direction and then turn it into another direction where there happens to be another person. I mean, come on. It's just there's common sense. And I think what it is we've seen people being emboldened to say, hey, because like they said, the statistic is something like 100 or 1,300% increase of attacks against that federal agency, against ICE. So that means that there's this movement, this repeated action, and people aren't necessarily getting in trouble for. So they see other people doing it, and it's okay to do this. It's okay to not that we can just ignore ICE, or we can just do what we want to do, and they can't do anything to us. And that's not true. I mean, it's the federal agents, no different than the FBI beating at your door saying stop, freeze, don't move. You run the risk if you decide to go against it, and bad things happen to people that do those types of things. Sean, it's unfortunate.
Sean C. made a great comment. So many people believe that they don't have to listen to police. So many people are talking about what they feel on this event, like whether he should have shot or not. Let's not even look at that. Let's look at what the results are. Let's look at how it is being treated by media. Let's look at how people are responding. Look at how media is also and the social media platforms are going to push up, because these social media platforms, their algorithms is an echo chamber. They are going to only just crush it in to the side that believes that, he shouldn't have shot her. The angles, the opinions, the people saying this is an absolute travesty, that, we need to do something about it. We need to get out there. It is not only going to crush that into people, it's going to crush it into the people that say, hey, that woman's at fault. That guy totally was right. And it just pushes people to opposite ends of the spectrum. When that happens, they're almost never do you have people come meet in the middle and go, okay, I guess we can compromise, and I guess we can both come to some sort of understanding. That's not what, that's just not what happened when you have it driving it to the other ends of the spectrum. And that's something that, our generation, I'm from the generation, one of the last, generation of kids without cell phones. We have no idea how this is going to affect humanity. With this kind of manipulation, with the very, very rich and powerful, everybody knows that the elite, they've got the money and we don't. But we've never had any kind of long-term results of the rich and powerful having this much power and manipulation over the people. So we have no idea what's going to happen with this and how bad it's going to be for the future. Don't even want to go down a side road of just how children and people in general are affected by these cell phones. My point is, this event, you have to look at the social media angle here, because all of the algorithms are already set up, we know this, to push everybody that way. And why we said civil war is it's already being said by Tim Walz that he says, I'm gonna try to send National Guard in there to take out the ICE people, because that is also an argument that everyone on this side is absolutely get ICE out of there. These people need to be doxxed and blah, blah, blah. And then the other side says, hey, they're just doing their job. They need to go in there and do this. Opposite ends of the spectrum. And they've pitted each other against it. I talked about this last week, how they're doing studies. They're finding almost all of these politicians, none of them even talk about what they're going to do for their constituents or the people they're representing. Almost all of them have found that they just have to attack the other side for them to get into office. So you have a whole period where across the country, you've got politicians that are in office just because they agree with 50% of the people and they attack people. I mean, literally, people are getting rewarded. Politicians are getting rewarded for attacking people and talking absolutely nothing about what they're supposed to be doing. That's a bad system. That is horrible. If he sends National Guard in here to take out ICE, what is that? That is the state fighting. That's state law enforcement fighting federal law enforcement. That is a civil war. Okay, that's what this could turn into. And people that say, "Oh, that's too much. Oh, that would be a huge exaggeration," right? Have you seen Minneapolis in just a few hours? That's crazy how fast that got. But I'll say this: who expected the summer of love to happen from that one arrest? It can happen fast, people, and you gotta look at the patterns and see how fast it's going. We'll know in the next couple. We'll know by tomorrow if this is going to get super bad or if it's going to blow over. Thank you, Moo Billa. Thank you, John Doe. Thank you, Timothy Stanley. Thank you, and thank you. Again, Wolverine Snicket, thank you for sending out 5 badges to the Fugel fam. One Ed Cooksey, thank you so much for the support. Says, we are not willing to cower to the other side, to lefts, right? Violence, as we did after that one guy that did that year. See, I don't know. You guys know what side I sit on, but I can't go, oh, those people or these people, because I feel bad for all people. I feel like everybody's on a certain side because they got trained on that side, they got put on that side, and that they've been kept on that side like a prison. And that is how powerful social media are, our cell phones, our personal little manipulation device that the governments have used to make us think how we think. That's why I stay away from my phone as much as possible. I seriously do. I don't, like doing the left-right paradigm, because I feel like they're both, two wings of the same bird. But again, I feel you. There's parts of me that scream that inside. Sean Rumble Productions says Minneapolis mayor in his press conference told ICE to get the F out of Minneapolis. You are not wanted here. Twilight Zone. And says, in Marf Dex we trust. Hey, I would say in God. Don't replace. I man, I love you, man. But I don't want to be, have God replaced with my name. Sean Rumble Productions. Police are blocking protesters in Minneapolis from getting to hotel where ICE is staying. Very loud downtown. So again, Sean Rumble's there. Says in Minneapolis not long ago, 3 military planes flew over with National Guard troops. Oh man, Sean, I don't know I don't want you to get hurt or anything, but man, if you're there, if you see something crazy, please video it to us and send it to us. We'll get it on. We could even, if you saw something crazy right now, we would be able to get it on the show in like 5 minutes. But if you do see something tomorrow or the next day, understand we are here and we will show your stuff if you've got something good. Thank you to Kate Brown. Again, thank you so much for the support. It says, hello from Minneapolis. Things are out of control here, but Foogle fam gives me hope. And I really hope that, things don't get crazy there. But understand, if this goes the way that it could go, don't worry just about Minneapolis. This could go nationwide in a second, just like the last event. And some people are looking like, how could this ever compare to that last event? The same way. In fact, most of the people right now that are gathering are all, it looks like a picture of body doubles standing next to each other. They're all, the same group of people that did it last time. Dex, go ahead.
If it does go nationwide, or if it does expand, or even if it just stays there and expands. And I think that if there is any truth to the paid participation that has been, said for so long, especially during the last event, it would definitely open up an opportunity for law enforcement, or probably at the federal level, because the local level ain't gonna do nothing about it, to actually maybe investigate and figure out where the money. It's always about follow the money, right? And as long as you can follow the money, you can figure out who's behind it. If it is, otherwise it's just organic. But I don't think all of this is organic.
Got to get that comment. Jeff says Walz and the mayor have been inciting people doing bad things against ICE. They are responsible. I could see that being directly a line and even a divot on Fox News too. And no, it's true. I've heard the statements, and if the president said anything along those same lines, like if it was reversed and the president was a mayor or a governor right now, he said those same things, there would be actionable events happening right now. There would be things like absolutely happening right now in retaliation. They might even try to arrest a person for doing that if it was reverse. I've seen that so many times where nowadays, either side, politicians, they're able to say these kind of things. And it's just crazy to me that it is happening just more and more. We're turning into the movie Idiocracy. Now, I've showed this on screen, but this is, again, kind of the chatter, and I've off on my other screen, I've been floating around Twitter. There's a lot of chatter of Russia retaliating. This one is a good instance, but I have seen at least 4 almost the same exact messaging. So is this propaganda? I don't know. Following the tanker seizure, Russia is issuing a direct threat towards the United States. Alexei Zurulov, a deputy of the Russian State Duma, called for a military response, saying it should include torpedo attacks and the sinking of several American ships. Now, I know part of that is true. We looked at that before even our first show. Dex, we were looking at that because, it's definitely guaranteed that their people are, some of them are saying, hey, this equals a response. Like, we need to do something. But that's kind of how Russia is about everything, right?
Of course. I mean, they're always full of words. Seldom do those words hold up, with the exception of Ukraine, where they said, hey, well, actually, they didn't even say they were going to take it. They said, we're just doing a drill. And then next thing you know, boom, they're in. But yeah, they do throw a lot of words around.
Yeah, so we'll follow it, and we'll follow as long as I'm awake. And obviously, I've been woken up at 2 in the morning and done a show. So we'll see what happens. It's a very, very scary time right now. You see all of the different countries that are responding to the Venezuela thing. It's a pretty clear message. Everybody's on edge, both our allies and our adversaries. All right, and then we have Iran on the brink. This is another event that's happening right all at the same time. Somebody in chat said the timing of all of this, including the Minneapolis and everything else, is very suspicious. Yes, it is. And I would say the same about what is happening in other countries outside of our country. Iran right now, I don't think it takes a rocket science to figure this out. I think that we have our people there, definitely pushing it. You had our president literally say, like, oh, yeah, we're supporting the people that are pushing back against it. I mean, you have public statements basically saying, like, yeah, you go, protesters. We're right behind you. Dex, didn't he even say he would use our power to go after people if they hurt their protesters? I'm not crazy when I say that, am I?
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, specifically, and he said, if you hurt the peaceful protesters, we got their back, and we will come do something.
I mean, think about that. How I've been covering stuff for 8 years. I've never seen something like that happen, ever. We're in the Twilight Zone. We are in a different time, people. But this is all the timeline of all of this is what scares me. We are in 2026. We're in this time that we've talked about for 5 or 6 years, and this is the period. And now everything is just quickly kind of snowballing. I mean, there's multiple operations in multiple adversarial countries going on right now. We haven't heard much about what's going on in China yet, though. All right. And Iran Army chief threatens preemptive attack over rhetoric targeting country after Trump's comments. Now, we added this again when I saw the plans to possibly evacuate to Russia, and what we covered earlier. It makes a lot of sense. Oh, the evacuating of diplomatic personnel. Russia was actually evacuating out of Israel their diplomatic personnel. That to me says they got a call, like Iran gave them some information. If that is confirmed, again, we can't 1,000% confirm it yet because they haven't put anything formally out. If they're really getting their diplomatic personnel out of Israel, that's like them saying, like, hey, get out of there before all of it hits the fan. Iran has still not done the True Promise 3. They called True Promise 2 and True Promise 1 when they launched all those missiles. The last we heard, Iran was trying to prepare 2,000 launchers to prepare launching 2,000 missiles at once. Now they're, potentially evacuating people out of Israel because something's about to go down. And Iran has a backup plan to go to Russia. And the central bank is saying, like, hey, save your data. It might all come crumbling down. Sounds like there's massive operations going on in Iran. Oh, and Tehran and the whole country, it's all falling apart. Everybody's refrigerators are empty, according to the media. And water, we know, is drying out. Tehran, they're talking about moving the capital because the drought is so bad, they literally have no water. So this is a powder keg and a half. Dex, do you want to talk about like what he actually said?
So
this is big.
Yeah, this is specifically to what you were just talking about a second ago about what Trump said about the peaceful protesters. Iran's army chief threatened a preemptive military action against the rhetoric. So the rhetoric specifically was, quote, President Trump said, quote, violently, if the Tehran violently takes out peaceful protesters, the United States will come to their rescue. So Major General Amir Hatami comes as Iran tries to respond to what it sees as a dual threat posed by both Israel and the United States as these protests are sparked by its economic woes. So ultimately, they're saying it's the economics that are causing the initial protests, but then Israel and the US are in there fanning the flames. And obviously, big statements like Trump saying that instantly fans the flames for the protesters, because now they feel like, hey, America's got our back because we don't like the government here. We're trying to overthrow it or get them to change. So now, what does it mean for preemptive, and why would they do that? And I guess the easiest thing to think of for them is what they've done in the past, which is, in Iraq, take some shots at some American bases, potentially harm Americans. We've seen that happen. Maybe even as far as into Syria. Those could all be options. There could be something they would do on the water in the Gulf there, but more than likely, I would think it'd be something in the Middle East. I don't think that they're necessarily saying, let's go do a preemptive strike on the United States territory here in the continental states. Could it be as much as, hey, we're going to strike Israel directly? That could very, very well be an option as well. We've heard them talk about they were trying to build their missiles back up quickly after the last depletion from not only the attacks that took them out and took out the ability for them to build them, but their use of the missiles from the last year. But they've been talking about wanting to be able to launch 2,000 missiles at one time against Israel. Maybe that is the preemptive strike they're talking about here. Or maybe he's just blowing hot air because they're scrambling right now and they're really having a hard time. We just had Pezeshkian, the president of Iran, say this problem is so big the government can't do anything about it.
Yeah. He said, we do not have the capacity to handle it. Realize how giant this is. The people are hungry. And, I was the first day that we heard a lot of this happening, I said, we didn't hear much about this the month before. We heard about the drought and this and that. There's something really, really big happening there. As far as people are, that is confirmed now. There's a lot of folks there that are hungry, to the point seeking to halt the anger. Iran's government began Wednesday paying the equivalent of $7 a month to subsidize rising costs for dinner table essentials like rice, meat, and pastas. Shopkeepers warn prices for items as basic as cooking oil likely will triple under pressure from the collapse of Iran's real currency. That real currency, we can see it is crumbling. So this is a sign of really bad times. End of preferential subsidized dollar, real exchange rate for importers and manufacturers, likely fueling further popular anger. More than a week of protests in Iran reflects not only worsening economic conditions, but longstanding angers at government repression and regime policies that have led to Iran's global isolation. I mean, this is, and by the way, the drought and all of that, I mean, there's other people that are even farther down theories that, the United States, if anybody, would have a system that would potentially be able to cause something like that, and there wouldn't be much that they could do about it, especially if it was something that was space-based or something that was, not something they could put a net and catch. Whatever's happening there, what are their options? When animals are backed into a corner, they usually strike. My guess is we might actually wake up tomorrow morning or in the next few days, and there will be some crazy, barrage of missiles from their underground, mountain. They're going to be bringing these all out. They're going to try to get as many working launchers going and do some sort of massive strike. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Dex, let's talk about Russia urgently. I mean, you just hit it real quick, but they're urgently evacuating the Russian embassy.
Yeah, and this is being reported. I think it's a Kiev article here. And again, we got to take this with a little grain of salt because it's not everywhere yet. But if it's actually happening, they're suggesting that they're evacuating or pulling personnel out of the embassies there in Israel. Well, that would if that is actually happening, and you've got Iran saying they want to do something preemptively, you've got this chaos happening in the streets, go to war quickly and maybe you can quell that chaos, since you can't quell it the way you think you would want to right now. So that could be one option. Or something else is happening, because it's also happening at the same time we just seized the tankers. And that's a big deal. And they feel like they have to respond. So look, the next 24 to 48 hours is going to be very interesting to see how all of this plays out with the different powers right now.
Yes, and yeah, we're gonna be watching it. We'll update you if anything really, really crazy happens. Now, make sure to go check out Energy if you haven't already. Of course, this is our recommendation for a solar generator, or at least a portable one. This is going to be tough as nails. This is literally designed and going out towards the U.S. Army under the SBIR Phase 2 contract. So if you want one of the toughest generators out there and reliable, this one is designed under very, very tight specifications for the Army that make it that where this is not going to be turned off by some sort of inside component that some other country could just turn off. We know this because they are now even making the batteries in America. Very, very cool. For the last couple Energy, you have the old price, but the new battery. After all of the last batch goes, we might not actually see, we won't be able to affiliate with them until their next batch. So when these are there, before people were waiting 7 months, 9 months, 11 months to get their freaking generator. These are generators that are sitting there ready to go, and you will get them right away. So go to marfooglenews.com/energy and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. Steel reinforced frame. It's modular. You can add add 1 battery or 5 batteries. You've got clamps that just quickly go from 4 batteries to 1 and take it with you, throw it in your truck, go somewhere, work site, campsite, fun site, whatever you want to do with this thing. It is absolutely awesome. You can charge it from either your wall or from solar power. And that means you could have unlimited energy as long as the sun comes up. marfooglenews.com/energy. And make sure to use the code Marfoogle. Special thank you to all of the mods. Leah, thank you. It's so awesome to see you here all week. Again, Bobby Sue, thank you for being here every night. Thank you, Chance, for holding it down. I appreciate that as well. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah. And speaking of Ilea, she's the one who told us about the school closures, and I want to make sure we repeat that.
We didn't even say it.
Yeah, from Minneapolis. So with all of the escalation, now they've gone so far as to say, hey, Minneapolis, we're going to close schools for the next 2 days. So that does 2 things. One, it terrifies everybody because they think that this problem is bigger than it is, or maybe it is that big. It also makes it available for everybody that works in the school systems or goes to the schools to go out and participate.
This K guy says, schools will be closed. This is absolutely devastating. Yeah, I'm sure the kids are actually excited about this, but what does that say, right? Where this event is going. Obviously, that city is getting pretty nuts. Now, Dex, we should at least show. There's a lot of media coming out of Minneapolis. Let me pull this up real quick, because we've seen the actual event, what caused it, but very quickly, within hours, you had thousands and thousands of people gathered. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's go to the trending here. Boom. Yeah, thousands and thousands gathering. Public schools are closed tomorrow. They must be preparing for some big stuff to go down. I mean, yeah. I mean, when people hear that, what else are you supposed to think? Or are the schools, out of an abundance of caution, they don't want to put their kids in the crossfire of whatever the heck is happening? What is happening right now? You know, Sean Rumble, if you are there and, you know, you don't have to go farther than just out on your porch, if you see something, let us know. If you are in Minneapolis and you have footage of this stuff, please, you know, send it to us. We will show it. It is getting really, really crazy, really, really fast there. It says the chaos is spread to public schools. All Minneapolis schools are closed Thursday and Friday due to safety concerns. And what gets me is multiple schools did it. Like it was a big decision. Did they get a heads up from law enforcement, right? Did they get information that the general public doesn't have? And because if they do that when it's not weather related like that, usually it's something that's imminent, like there's a shooter loose and we're not going to have school open today. This is a general protest over an event. I guess Minneapolis also, you know, they went through what happened a few years ago. So maybe they're like, well, we've been down this road. We don't want to go to the same place again. Dex, you know, I wonder, did they close the schools right after the George thing happened?
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, in that city, but how quick did that happen? How quick did people gather?
I think it was quick because they, you know, those riots went from peaceful protests to riots pretty quickly. And, you know, once it gets dark, things started, you know, burning.
Well, that was also during CV, right? We had 2019, everybody was stuck inside. So people are already just on edge. I just wonder how fast this is going to implode. And if it doesn't, you know, will this blow over by tomorrow or the next day? Or
this will definitely distract everybody away from the fraud case that's going on.
Yeah.
And Tim Walz not, you know, running again and saying, well, I can't run because this bad problem that's going on. I have to spend my time working on it. And then went so far as to say he was going to ride the backs of everyone harder than they've ever been ridden before, which was kind of ironic.
Yes.
That was a quote. Literal quote.
And then Michael Kozlow, thank you for sending out 5 different badges to 5 different Fugel family members. Thank you for using that to, of course, help other Fugel family members. Machina Opus just hit 31 months as a member, says Chavismo, clenched fists and cuffs on the football. Thank you, Machina Opus. And then Jeff Monet, Walls in the Mayor, again, thank you. Ed Cooksey, thank you. Again, Kate Brown, Sean Rumble Productions. Sean Rumble, you know, let us know what you hear. If you know people that work downtown, if there's other, I know we have other Fugel families in Minneapolis. Let us know what's going on. Email me tonight. You know, I can't always get to them, but put in the actual subject, Minneapolis. If you have something important, get it to us. I'll be reading them tonight and early in the morning. So, all right, Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
All right, you guys, we will see you tomorrow. Or if something emergent happens, of course, I will do an emergency cell. Make sure to go to our website, marfoogelnews.com. You will find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document right there at your fingertips, so you know exactly where we got this information and why we chose, to title it the way we did and to say what we did. Thank your mods by going over to the Friends tab. You can, of course, go click, and then boom, you've got an awesome list from, of course, Chance, who has his books over on Amazon. Again, none of that all profits the actual author, Chance. We do not take a commission, so if you want to go support somebody who spends every night in chat, keeping it peaceful, Chance has Bunker Basics and other books over there, so make sure to go check that out. Jammer, Gem's been popping in, Optical Gem now. Or wait, Dex, did she change her name back to Gem? Because it said Optical Gem on the Friends page, I think. Yeah, I think she did change it back to Gem.
Maybe. I'm
glad. Isn't that what her name originally was? I always called her Gem even after it was Optical Gem and corrected it. So maybe she saw me correcting it every time she changed it back. I don't know. Ilea, Trinity. I haven't heard from her in a while, But she has her own channel and was spending a lot more time doing the creating. So her and Bones have launched their own channels, and she's almost at 12,000. You've got Bones, of course. He's over on TikTok. I heard he's getting pretty big over there. So go support these guys. They are, of course, putting out their truth as well. Lisa R. Hall has been here all week, or at least a few times now. And, oh, man, Lisa Hall, one of my favorite people out there. So thank all of these guys for being here, including Jammer, Bobby Sue, Rip Curl, Wages, and the rest. Wages is covering all of the solar events. I mean, you just got a whole crew, man. We've got the dream team here. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and I got to throw it in there, OHIO, and have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. Sean Rumble Production, you are number one supporter, number one top fan. Ed Cooksey, Kate Brown, Blackbird. We'll see you over on Jams.